Yo, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another Division video. It's the weekend, which of course means that all of the various vendors have rotated. New blueprints in the Dark Zone safe room vendors, of course new weapons on sale in the vendors in both the base of operations, the terminal, and the underground. So as always, I'm here to tell you guys what is for sale and whether or not any of those items are worth purchasing. So if you guys do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated, and don't forget to leave a comment down below if you have any questions. So, kicking things off in the Dark Zone, as always, we're starting in DZO2. This is where you can go to get your gear pieces. Again, these are only sold at 204 gear score, so if you guys are starting to collect higher gear score pieces, then generally speaking, these won't be that useful to you. That being said, this week there are firearms gloves and there are stamina gloves, so for any of you guys that are still after those Savage gloves, then that could still be an option for you. But besides that, the electronics vest and the firearms holster, there's really not a lot for you here. Moving over to the DZO3 safe room, as mentioned last week, they started selling a weapon that is 229, while most of the blueprints, in fact all of the blueprints, are 204 and below. There is a weapon you can buy if you are looking to up your gear score, so this week that is the Police MK17. It'll set you back just over 250,000 Dark Zone funds. You do need to be DZ rank 90 for this, but it is gear score 229. And for those of you guys wondering, the talents, because of course this isn't a blueprint, this is a fixed weapon, are Dominant, Competent, and Unforgiving. So, not that great. Generally speaking, I wouldn't waste my time getting to that weapon and the money, given that there are plenty of other sources for better weapons out there. However, for the blueprints, you do have a black market RPK-74E, which is an LMG, and you also have a blueprint for a tactical ACR. Again, both of these are 204. However, one thing I will start saying to people, especially if you guys are on PlayStation and the only new gear set you have available is Alpha Bridge, which is arguably my most favourite gear set in a long time. One thing I will say is don't necessarily ignore lower gear score items. If you are using Alpha Bridge, you want to start looking at other weapons, slightly lower gear score weapons, for the potential that they can provide through unlocking additional talents. So as mentioned, as you guys know, I run with a 229 G36 and a 182 Caduceus, because of course that gives me 6 talents on my G36. So just something to keep in mind. Don't necessarily look at it and think, oh, that's 204, I don't even want to touch that. So yeah, do think about it. But that being said, for the time being, no major recommendations right there. Then moving over to DZO4, this week there are 2 gear mods. There is an electronics gear mod and a performance gear mod. So if you are trying to build out any particular build, looking to bolster some stats, then of course electronics could be your go-to point. Performance gear mods, as I say every single time, I still personally haven't found a use for them. I still haven't come across a situation where I would use one of those over a attribute gear mod. So for the time being, I'm not going to recommend that either. Then finally, in the Dark Zone DZO5, this is where you go to get your weapon mods. Level 32 weapon mods this week are the Vertical Grip Wolf Grey and also the Extended Magazine. Now, Extended Magazine is one that, if you guys have not got by now, definitely pick it up. This is one of the key factors for increasing your DPS in your weapons. Extended Magazines can roll plus 100%, so you can get some pretty big magazines in your guns, plus they can roll with things like weapon damage. So for example, on the new PP19, plus 100% extended magazine does give you an SMG magazine over 100 bullets, which is pretty insane. Plus, of course, it's really good for LMGs and all that good stuff. In short, if you haven't got this one, definitely grab it now, but I'm sure it's been around quite a few times, so I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have picked this one up by now. So that's it for the Dark Zone. Don't really worry about DZO6 because that is pretty fixed. If you're looking for a few random pieces, then fair enough, go there. But for the time being, that is it. So if we now jump over to the base of operations, there are 2 weapons on sale this week. There is the Enhanced PP19, which is one of the new SMGs. Now I do actually really like this. I know there's a bit of a mixed opinion on this one. I like it simply because, as I just mentioned, you do have the potential to increase this to give it a pretty massive magazine. So an SMG firing off, well, the one that I had firing off 108 bullets is pretty insane, especially if you do have some good skills on it. That being said, this one does have Ferocious, Skilled, and Hurried. So Ferocious is, of course, damage against elite and named enemies is increased by 14%. Skilled is a really good one. Headshot kills with this weapon increase signature skill resources by 11.5%. Now this is something that I always say, if you don't have one of these weapons, it's worth grabbing just to have a skilled weapon, because when you do take part in high level activities, especially when you consider that, say, heroic version of Dragon's Nest is coming out next week, and generally speaking, if in these activities you need your signature skill back for maybe like a push or, you know, some kind of like damage increase or a defensive movement, then a skilled weapon is a really good way to get it back, because you pop a few headshots, kill a few enemies through those headshots, and you've basically got your skill back. So I would always recommend carrying one of these. Also, if you're running Alpha Bridge, then it could be another one of those 4th, 5th, and 6th talents that you unlock on your weapon too. And of course, Hurried comes on every single PP19, one of the new skills where critical hits increase your reload speed by 10% to a minimum of a 1-second reload time. However, on the flip side, there is a double-barreled sword-off, which has Adept, Destructive, and Deadly. So Destructive and Deadly, really, really good skills. Of course, Destructive is a PvE only one. Deadly is a very nice skill to have. And of course, thanks to the new weapon recalibration, Adept is something you could roll out. Either way, both of those are 204, but if we then jump down to the terminal, this is one that I actually missed last week, but I will start including going forward. There is another vendor down there, and the terminal vendor again sells 204 gear score items, but he sells a classic M1A and a SOCOM MK20 SSR. And the classic M1A has Swift, Restored, and Proficient, so nothing really worth shouting about there. As for the SOCOM MK20 SSR, that has Commanding, Restored, and Vicious. Vicious is a pretty nice talent, but the SOCOM MK20 isn't necessarily a weapon that I would personally choose. So finally, let's go down to the Underground. And this week, the G36 is back. This is a 2291. Now, do bear in mind, for this one, you do need to be Underground rank 40. But if you are that rank, that will set you back 993 Phoenix credits. And the talents on this one are Adept, Restored, and Focus. So not the best set of talents, but if you were looking for a G36 at the top of the gear score bracket, I mean, I appreciate a lot of people said that they are dropping pretty frequently. However, if RNG isn't in your favour, then this is of course a means for you to get one. Do note, however, next week there will be an update dropping 1.3.1, and they did say on stream that this will include the fix for the map. That should be dropping on Tuesday, but it will also, either on Tuesday or Thursday, there's a couple of updates dropping next week. The G36 weapon balance is actually coming, unfortunately. They did still say that it's still going to be a good weapon after nerf, but the nerf that pretty much all of us were kind of hoping that they were not going to do does seem like it is coming. So it's a shame, but I will of course test the weapon out once it has been nerfed, let you guys know how it handles, and let you guys know if it is still a good weapon. But for the time being, still worth grabbing. And of course on the flip side you have the First Wave X45, which is gear score 204, but you only need to be Underground rank 20 for this one, and this is of course one of the new sidearms. It's actually pretty good. This one fires really fast. I do actually quite like it, but either way, that is it. Those are your vendors this week. That's what you need to know. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. If you did, then as always, a like would be super appreciated. And thanks for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.